HiRez.io.
So let's start. Yeah, thanks. So as you know, I come from Israel, and in Israel we have a lot of Russian-speaking people. And I had a friend growing up was Russian named Alex, and he taught me a few words like hello and goodbye and stuff like that. But he always kept like saying bad words, and I probably picked up on some of those words. So this one time he told me like, "Hey, Shai," and I wanted to say like Alex, привет, or something like that. So it turned out like Alex, пиздец. And he looked at me like what the fuck? And I actually until this day I don't know what it means, but I know it means something bad. So yeah, in Israel, yeah, everyone talks only the bad words. Okay, awesome. So let's start. Okay, we're talking about production-ready JavaScript with Grunt. First of all, who am I? I'm Shai, and I'm an AngularJS consultant, and recently I founded HiRez.io, which is an online training website. So I took all my knowledge from consulting and started building online workshops for other companies outside of Israel. Also run 3 meetup groups in Israel: the JavaScript Israel meetup group, and the Google developer group in some city in Israel called Rishon. And we organized the first NG-Conf, like Angular Conf in Israel, and also doing lectures, as you see, and in universities and stuff like that. I'm also an entrepreneur, so this place is cool, and I really like this place. And also founded a group called Talking Lean, where entrepreneurs share their stories, mostly failures, right? But stuff you can learn from. And I had like 3 startups of my own who failed. So I know a lot about it. And also I do improvisation. So it's like, whose line is it anyway? If you know this show, just as a hobby in Israel, and started the improv house. So before we start, I want to say thanks very much to Forefront and to this place I'm Guru, right? And XBSoftware and Wix, who brought me here. Wix, I don't know if you know, it's mainly an Israeli company that have branches all over. And I have a lot of friends from there, so they called me up and invite me to here. And it was a very cool experience. I really like Minsk. So thank you very much. And give it a hand for arranging all this. So in Israel we have games that we play in the start of the meetups. This isn't the start of the meetup, but let's play it anyway. So who here actually have experience with Grunt? Okay, leave your hands. The one who doesn't have experience with Grunt, raise your hand. Everyone leave your hands, okay? Now give high five to each other. Okay? And say your name. If you don't know, okay, one another, say your name and introduce yourself and stuff like that. Okay? Even if you do know, okay, just say your name. Okay, quick, okay, great. So now on the count of 3, everybody yell the name they heard, okay? Together. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, awesome. Great. I got like Dima. Okay, so I would call you guys Dima. Okay, so and please stop me if something isn't clear, if I'm babbling or something like that. Stop me and throw something or something like that, and I will explain myself. So what's on today's menu? So we're going to talk about why building JavaScript, okay? And next we're going to talk about build theory. With just an overview about the theory behind the actual tools. Then we're going to talk about the tools, mainly the Grunt API, and questions, sexy time, in the end, okay? Sure. Great, so let's start. Why building JS? So we develop stuff, right? Okay? And we want to share this with our clients so they can develop stuff 2. Okay. So we copy it to the server as is, right? Via FTP, right? We copy like wait forever. Okay, because it's JavaScript and we don't need to touch anything, right? Just like plainly move it over. Wrong. This guy don't know how to play the bass. Oh, it's a fish. I don't. Never mind. Okay. Let's talk about why it's wrong. Okay, because we have several issues with client-side JavaScript apps. The first one is nowadays we do compile. Okay. In the old days, we just did plain JavaScript, but now we do compile. We have ECMAScript 6 with Tresor. We have SAS or LAS if you using these tools. CoffeeScript, TypeScript, as you heard before, and the Dart, and we have all these tools that saves us time, and we do compile them. So we need something to do it not manually before we copy it. The second thing is the HTTP request overhead. So, you probably guys, you know that you have a minimum of 20 to 100 milliseconds per request. So it doesn't matter how big the file is. Okay, if you get like 200 files in your index HTML, 200 script tags, you get like every time the same amount of time. So just try loading lots of scripts and go and make yourself coffee and come back. And anyone who tried this know what I'm talking about. So it isn't really, and we do like a modular JavaScript application, so we have lots of files. It's not like one big file like 95. So the bigger the file is, the longer the download. Captain Obvious. Okay. So yeah, I must say I searched for Captain Obvious in Google Images, and this guy is stupid. Okay. So the fourth thing is don't download the same file twice. Really easy to grasp concept, right? Use the browser cache. This stuff, although it's pretty easy, most people doesn't really care about this. Just put the same name so you know you have the browser cache and it caches by name. We'll talk about it in a few slides. So, why should we care? Because performance matters. You don't want to make your clients wait, right? You don't want to lose your clients, okay? So, we need to massage our files. Okay, massaging our file, what do I mean by that? First, we need to compile, okay? Basically take new syntax and transform it to old syntax, like ECMAScript 6 to ECMAScript 5, etc. Next, we need to concatenate our file, create fewer files. If we have 200 files, we need to create like 1 or 2, something like that. Okay? Then we need to minify them, create smaller files. So, yeah, the download thing, you know, Captain Obvious. Okay. So, and lastly, we need to revision the file to optimize for caching. What do I mean? You just take the content of the file, do a hash, get like a weird number, letter stuff, and put it, rename the file with it. So if you have styles.css, you get styles.hash.css. And this is revisioning. So we'll see examples. So for a JavaScript application, we have 5 parts, mainly, more or less. Index HTML, okay, we have JavaScript, we have CSS, we have templates, which I know everyone goes like by different template engine, but we do in big apps have templating usually. And we have the assets, which is the images, audio, video, whatever, SVGs and stuff. So the relationship between those parts is that index HTML rely on JavaScript and CSS usually, okay? Maybe assets and stuff. The JavaScript relies, usually it loads the templates, okay? In Angular, it loads the templates, but usually it's like this. And the templates and CSS rely on images and stuff, okay? Sometimes also the JavaScript, but usually it's like this, okay? So this is the relationship. So this is also the order we need to handle things when we build stuff. Okay, I'm not going into this all like table now, okay? Just a table that marks like what needs to be done on each several of these categories, okay? Basically, you see that you concat, okay? Okay, you don't see it. So you concat and minify and revision the CSS and JavaScript, which is obvious, but you need to handle also the assets and maybe the template. I put like question marks before here because it depends on the framework you use, the template engine you use, so it depends, okay? But it's or yes or no, okay? So this is the table for later. When you see the slide, I will share it. You can like compare. Okay, let's zoom out. Okay, yeah. So, I think it's a church. I don't know. Okay. So build process. Let's talk about the bigger build process. Okay. So first, we need to test our code. Test or lint. Anyone use JS lint, hint, stuff like that? Okay. More people should use it. You can integrate it with WebStorm or whatever and use it. So it stops, we stop if something breaks. Before we do all the build process, which take time and stuff, want to stop if our unit testing is breaking or the JSON calls out something like you forgot a space or something annoying like that. So we stop. Next, we need to prepare. Before we start massaging the file, we need to prepare to clean the folders. We need to generate maybe stuff like on the index.html or preparation code, or maybe replace the configuration strings and stuff like that. We need to do it like before. Then we massage. You already know what it means. And last we rewire. Okay, so we replace the index.html pointers. If before I pointed to styles.css, now I point to style.somenumbers.css. So I need to replace it. And remember that the index.html, when you put it on the server, never cache it, okay? Because it will always points to the newest version. So you need to never cache the index.html, which is good because it should be a small file, okay? And always get downloaded. But the other stuff you should cache. So the final package should look like this. You have like a distribution folder, you can name it whatever you want. Okay, you have like assets and like, for example, images, and this is what I showed you. Usually longer, but you know, it's slides and stuff. And other assets here. You have the scripts, okay, and vendor, okay, which, yeah, you can name it whatever, but basically it means all the library you use. Because if you think about your application, you have your code that always keep changing, and you have like a dependency on Backbone or Angular or Knockout or whatever you use, which usually you don't change that much. So you want to the client to have the older version, the cached version, and because it cached by the content, you don't care. He gets the older version because he already have it. So the same thing goes for styles. Okay, styles and vendor. Okay, and templates usually depends. I usually compile them and add them to the script JS, but you have this folder, and then you have the index.html. This is like more or less, okay, you have like more file favicon and stuff like that, but this is the main parts we talked about before. Further, let's zoom out, okay? Deployment process, just to give like a context of which part in the deployment process we're talking about now. So we have the version control stage where we develop stuff, and then if we work in a team, usually we work on version control. I hope nobody sends zip files by email anymore, okay? We use Subversion or Git or something like that. So we do the Git push, and it goes to the continuous integration server or any other server who holds it. So it goes to the version control system, and then the continuous integration server or build server, watch it and see that something new arrived and start building it. So usually for that we will use Jenkins or Wix I or something like that. This is the continuous integration server. And this is the part we're talking about. So this server will take our script, build script, and with that script it will create the distribution folder that later will get deployed by the deploy script. So this is just, this talk is not about this process, okay? This is another different process. Usually in a large company or stuff like that, you have teams that dedicated to this called the ALM or something like that. So don't worry about it if you're in a big team, okay? If you're in a startup, you do everything. So we're talking about the middle step. This is the, so let's zoom back in, okay? Final package, we talked about the assets, scripts, styles, templates, and index.html. We used to do it manually, right? We used to do it like compile the stuff and copy and everything. And now we don't need to, okay? We have automatic tools. And one of those tools is Grunt, okay? And this is what we're going to talk about for now. So Grunt, what is Grunt? So it's built on top of Node.js, okay? It's a Node application. What is the meaning of this? It means that on the CI server you need to have Node installed, okay? But with Grunt you can do anything because its goal is mostly to transform files. So as long as it's a script language like PHP or Ruby or whatever, okay, you can just transform, you can use this tool, okay, to transform the files. It also operates Node application if it needs, like run Karma to run the unit test and stuff like that. But most of the task is to transform the files to get them ready for the production server, okay? And it's configuration based. So you import a plugin, you configure it like JSON stuff, and then you run the test and it builds, okay? You need to configure like it's JavaScript object, but it's like JSON stuff. Okay, good news, okay? If you know JavaScript, you already know how to write Grunt, okay? So it's good news. Don't have to worry, even if you know a little. It's really JavaScript, okay? So if you want to set up Grunt just to have a play with it, you need to, when you install Node, you install also the Node package manager, okay? So npm. So you can install npm install -g. -g means globally, so you can reach it from anywhere in the file system. Grunt CLI. Grunt CLI, it's the command line grunt. Okay. Next, we have two files. The first one is the grunt file, which is the configuration file. Okay, here is where you configure all the tests. Next one is the package.json, which isn't really a grunt file, right? It's for Node packages, but this is where you put the version of Grunt you want to use and the Grunt plugins you want to use. And then you just install them by npm install without the -g. Then you can just use them, okay? So these two files, it's all that is needed basically to run the Grunt script. So Grunt API simplified. Let's talk about really simplified. You load tasks, you configure tasks, and then you run tests, okay? It's really that simple. Isn't anything, haven't got anything else to do with it, just load, configure, and run. So let's talk about the load stage. So to load tasks, you just put it in, I will show you an example in a few minutes. You just load, use the command grunt.load npm task and give it the name, the same name in the package.json. And then you have it in your context. You can just configure it and it will work. You can just run it. Or better, usually the convention is to use in the package, I know you guys don't see, but it's require load -grunt -test. Okay? So you just, this is a Node module that do all the things automatically for you. So it loads, it looks at the package.json, it searches for everything that has grunt dash that starts with it, and then it loads it into the context. So you can just put this one command and you have all the stuff you wrote in the package.json. So it's very cool. Next, you configure tasks, okay? It's really easy. Again, another method, grunt.initConfig, and you give it a JavaScript object, okay? So this is where everybody loses it, okay? Because usually when you look at the grunt file, it's a shitload of mess, right? So you have a lot of this stuff, but it's really, when you zoom in, okay, you see that it's really simple. The first line of properties, okay, are tasks. Okay, this should be the name of the task that you loaded, okay? The exact name. You can't like invent another name. So this, it looks by this name. Then usually you have options if you want to share like configuration between targets, and then you have the targets. So what are targets? Okay, this is target. Yeah. What are targets? It's basically means different configuration for the same task. If, for example, I have the copy task and I want to copy only the assets, I will put here, I can change this name to whatever I want. Okay, I can put here copy assets, okay, and then I can run copy assets. Okay, and if I want another target, I can just bring them on and keep adding them, and I have different configuration for the same task. That's it. This is how you configure tasks, okay? Each task, you need to learn its configuration. You go to GitHub and you read all the stuff. Okay, and then you run them, okay? So you have this is the command line. Just put on the command line, grunt, test name. You have the dots and target name, and that's it. It just runs. If you leave out the target name, it will run all of the targets, one after the other. Okay? So, not all, okay? You have another option. You can create ALIAS tasks. And this is a very powerful tool that not a lot of people use that much. What does it mean? It means you can create your own names for tasks and tell it what other tasks to run in an array. This is the simplified version. But what it means that you can create, it's like function in JavaScript. You can just call whatever like nice declarative name you want for the pile of shit that you see, okay? And then you just call it, and the other developer wants to fix your shitty code, okay? Can see this name and know what the shit is talking about. Yeah, okay. So this is a helpful tool. So you use the method register task, and this is how you can do it. And then you just run the same name you defined, you can run on the command line. So it's really that easy. Okay, let's see like a quick, I don't know if I'm blocking. So let's see. Okay, so here I will put like a zoom so you guys in the back can see. Okay, and here you see that I have a project. I can't really zoom this part, but you see I have a really simple project with package.json and grunt file. So we're now looking on this package.json, and you see that I load here the grunt version that I want, the load grunt test that I showed you before, and then grunt dash, this is the convention, okay? Contrib copy, which is the copy task, or the official copy task of grunt. And then all I need to do here, okay, is just, let me see if I can make it even bigger. Yeah, I can do npm install. I already did it, okay, forget about it. No, but basically what it does, it creates the grunt, the node modules library, and then you see all the files here. But the main thing is the grunt file. So if we look on in the grunt file, you see that it starts with a regular node module declaration, and then the line I showed you before, we just see all the grunt tasks that you declared in the package.json and automatically load them. And then you have the initConfig here with an object, okay? And you can guess it. What this is, remember? Yeah, but what's the name? Task name, okay, great. And this is no picking. Okay, great, the target. So here you see a very simple task and target. This is the syntax of this specific task. I told you every task you need to learn how to configure it. But this is just tells him I have here a source and just some file and some other file. Okay. So here we tell him to go to the source folder. This is your files that you need to copy, and this is the destination you need to copy to. Okay, don't worry about this. You need to do it. Okay, in order to do this stuff. And when I will run this task, okay, grunt copy target 1. Okay, you will see that. What the fuck? This is a good point to say pizdes, right? Okay. Yeah. Let me just delete it and see. I swear it worked like this. During that guy talk,
you're in the home directory, you should change directory.
Right. I'm not in the right directory. Good for you, Shai. Nice. Thanks, man. So yeah, and we go to the simple. Let's see, and npm install. No, we don't need it. We just do the grunt copy target 1. Okay, great. Yay! We copied one file. Yeah. It's funny in the video. I will look like a really midget, like a really small person. Okay, great. So. We copied, let's see that it's not lying, okay, let's see in the disk, yeah, it copied that one file. Okay, if you want to add a target, okay, here we just copy another, okay, we just add a target, we can copy this file of, you know what, and then just okay, and we can just change it to copy another. Don't mess with me. Okay, and we see another file. Okay, great. Also, no need to applaud. It's just basic JavaScript. You know? Okay, great. Now, if I want to copy them all, I leave out the grunt. Okay, no, I leave out the target name, and it will run both files, so it will copy 2 files, okay? And if I want to save like a space, I can just rename it to just asterisk, and no, this would be a bug. And yeah, it will copy the 2 files. So you can play with it, and so this is just a really dumb example of how you use grunt, okay? But you see that it's really not that hard when you look at it like zooming in. Okay, let's talk about GULP for just a brief moment, okay? How many heard about GULP? Okay, awesome. So yeah, so GULP is like a competitor of grunt, okay? It's a newer tool. It has streams, okay? Basically grunt, when you run all the tasks, it writes to the file system and then reads from the file system, and it makes it much slower. So GULP uses in-memory actions and run all your manipulation, transformation in memory, and then writes only in the end the result. So it has streams. Also it has code over configuration. So if grunt you have to configure stuff, here you write JavaScript. Okay? single responsibility principle in use. Usually GULP task will have only one responsibility, so you can't really do both things. In some grunt tasks you can do several things, so they want to get away from that. And it has a growing community. But, there's always a but. In my perspective, I tried GULP for a few things, and it really is faster, and you need to get used to the new idea. And I felt for a lot of things that I can do with Grunt, I didn't find a quick way to do it with GULP and the community and plugin ecosystem. So for now I'm staying with Grunt, but I will check it. I myself will check it in a few months, and it's definitely worth looking at, if you're comparing those both tools. So where do I start? Where do you start? Okay, if you want to write your own build script, so you can use Yeoman. Anyone heard about Yeoman? Yo, man. Okay. So Yeoman is a project. I won't get into it. I have another lecture. I think if you press Yeoman on Google and videos, you will see my lecture. Okay. So I have a lecture from 1.5 years old about Yeoman, but it still explains the basic idea. Basically, it's a project from Google that have best practices and a pre-configured files. One of those files, it's a grunt file that you can use for your project and just play with it and customize it to your own needs. If you want to use it, you do npm install -geo. It's the same, you see the pattern, it's the same thing. And you install a generator. Yeoman, it's like a scaffolding system, like Rails have. Okay, so you can generate new projects, like Angular project. I work basically with Angular, so I always generate an Angular project. But you can choose your own. They have a generator for everything. Once you generate, you can use this word after the yo in the command line. So you can yo Angular and ask a bunch of questions, and you have a new Angular project with a grunt file configured, okay, a really long grunt file. Yeoman's grunt file. Let's see if I can't fuck up this one also. And so yeah. So I already generated for you, this is what it looks like, okay? And you have here the application files, like I showed you, with all the stuff. You have the index.html, you have here scripts and templates and styles and stuff. And once you do, if you want to run the deploy here, you just do a grunt build, and that's it. If I will run this, you get a dist folder, like I showed you, with basically you can ignore this, but scripts, templates, styles, okay? And if we look at in the script, you see the vendor with the hash. Let me just put it here. Scripts, okay? And then if I look at the index.html of the original index.html, I see that here is all my vendor stuff, okay? Here is all my vendor stuff. After the build, after grunt finishes with it, you get a new index.html minified, and you get only one reference. This is the revisioned file. So it does it automatically. He knows to take these files to massage them and then to replace the reference. Okay, so this is the end result you get, okay, when you do it. It's look ugly because also the index.html get minified. So this is basically how the grunt file of Yeoman looks like. I minimize all the shit, but it's really long, okay? And you have here the copy, okay? This is how you see it's similar to what I did, just with more files and pointers. But you have lots and lots and lots of pre-configured tasks that you can run, and also you can use it for development. This is their build, okay, task with all the tasks, blah, 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 blah. Okay, why do I blah, blah, blah it? Because that's a good start, but Yeoman's grunt file need modifications, okay? If you actually put it in your project, you need to modify it, you need to add stuff. It can be scary to look at. I minimized it, but I can expand it, and you see all the thousands of lines of code, okay? It's really scary to look at it first. And best practices, like which are the newest tests and how to configure a proxy and all those stuff, okay, it takes more to figure out. So it took me, I did it like with most of the companies that I work with. I work with over now, I think 17 companies in the past 2 years. And always, this is the part they scare the most, okay? They don't want to touch it, like, you do it, okay? And because it can be like terrifying to look at the start, and because I work with all the companies, I figured out what like worked best for this situation. You want to be able to make changes on your own, not just rely on Yeoman, because you need to do the modification, you need to redo it, so you need this ability. And basically it's bigger than this lecture scope, and I'm running out of time in 2 minutes. Yeah. So this is why I have an online workshop on HiRez that I'm working now and soon to be published. Okay, so you're welcome to join. I will also publish free videos like this lecture and other lectures that I do, and spam occasionally like Viagra and stuff like that. Okay, so it's cool. Register. Okay, so what have we learned today? Why building JavaScript? Build theory overview, the Grunt API, and a little bit of Yeoman and GULP also. Oh, and one more thing. If you're gonna be lazy, do it with style, okay? So use Grunt if you're going to be lazy, okay? And put the extra effort and learn it. Thank you. So if you guys want to ask questions, now is the time, and you will get a shirt, okay? But you can ask questions, but anyway. Okay, anyone have a question? Yeah. Ah, sure. In Russian, I understand.
I try in English.
All right.
About your shirt.
Yeah.
This would mean how much time you spend to learn to work with Grunt. По-русски. Ну, в общем, это слово, оно потому что вот пришлось много с ним повозиться, да?
Да. Yeah, next question.
Are there any benefits for the .NET developer? You know, there is stuff like bundling and minifying already in Visual Studio, and there are some plugins, and there are some templates. So, what's the profit?
So your question is for a what developer? A .NET developer? Yeah. Oh, so if you got a stack that works for you, okay, and you don't need to worry about stuff, this basically it's for mainly JavaScript application that uses a REST API with, I don't care about the backend, you know, it can be Rails or .NET or whatever, Java, and I need to worry about how to build my stuff. If you got already a stuff that works for you, use that. But if you're starting out playing JavaScript without any dependencies, I would use JavaScript and not like...
So like Angular that's use some API?
Yeah, Angular, or even like it's not bounded to a specific tool. You know, it's cross-platform, so you don't need Visual Studio to work with it, okay? And also you get the support in Grunt in the web store. You have native support. You can really like play, stop, like the Grunt support, and it's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You get a shirt. Sorry about that. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes. Could we synchronize Grunt with Gregor? It's a backend compiler.
It's a backend compiler.
Yeah.
I don't know this compiler, so I don't know how to answer this question. So sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Okay. Anyone else? Oh, sorry. Get anyway. Whoa, watch out! Okay. Yeah, he had the courage, right? Okay. Anyone else?
You send discount for all visitors for your further courses, no?
What?
Do you send discount for all visitors for your further course? Discount.
Ah, yeah, of course. For everyone who was here, okay, we get, and everyone else who already registered to my site, okay, you get a discount on the first course, this course. My word, okay? Great. It's not a real question. Fuck it. Oh, nice catch. Yeah, of course. Excellent question. Excellent question. Okay, guys, that's it. Let's wrap it up. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.